Minecraft, one of the world's most popular games, and yet there are mobs we have all completely forgotten about. There are just so many mobs and more being added to the game that we begin to forget some of them. That's why in this video, I'm showing you 5 Minecraft mobs that you forgot existed. In 5th place, we have the Stray. This mob is both on Bedrock and Java Edition and can be found in snowy and frozen biomes. Once you find a frozen biome, around 60% of the skeletons spawned in will spawn in as strays. A stray will deal 3 to 5 hearts of damage when hit by one of their arrows and has a total of 10 hearts. When hit by an arrow, you will notice you have been granted with slowness for 30 seconds. Strays will drop bones, arrows, and of course their arrow of slowness. Although you can only find them in frozen biomes, there is a way to make them yourself. Yes, you heard me right. Make them. When a regular skeleton falls into powdered snow, it will begin shaking after 7 seconds. And after another 15 seconds, it will then turn into a stray. This means that you can even make your own stray farms using this 1.18 block. Okay, so this is basically what a stray farm would kind of look like. You know, you got the spawner in the middle, and then you have powdered snow below it. This is, of course, just one way to make a stray farm. And this isn't footage from me. This is footage from whoever this is. But yeah, this is basically one idea of a stray farm. Now, why is this mob so forgotten, you may ask? Well, because strays only spawn in snowy and frozen biomes, the community has forgotten about this mob and
doesn't really care about it.
Nobody really cares about the stray, considering the fact that they're basically just regular skeletons, but with arrows of slowness. Now moving on to number 4, the Zoglin. This is basically just a zombified hoglin with a few modifications. Unlike most mobs, the Zoglin can only form when a hoglin enters the overworld. It takes 15 seconds for them to zombify, and it will receive a nauseous effect for a brief moment. It will attack most mobs, including hoglins, and will deal 1.5 to 6 heart of damage depending on what difficulty you're on. They have 20 hearts and deal quite a bit of knockback upon hitting you.
Bruh.
Once you kill the Zoglin, it will drop rotten flesh and only rotten flesh. I think the reason this mob was forgotten is a little bit more obvious than the other ones. This mob is absolutely useless and will only ever appear when a hoglin decides to sneak through your nether portal. The community doesn't really care about this mob, and they don't really have a reason to. The skeleton horse is a very strange mob and can only be spawned during a thunderstorm. Each one has 7.5 hearts, and they are passive creatures unless if a horseman is riding it. Each lightning strike has a 0.75 to 6.75% chance of spawning one, depending on what difficulty you're on. Once spawned in, it will appear to at first be just a regular skeleton horse, but don't be fooled. Once you reach 10 blocks away from this creature, another lightning strike will be summoned on top of it, and 4 skeleton horsemen will spawn with enchanted helmets and bows. Although the skeleton horses themselves aren't hostile, the horsemen are, and they will begin shooting their arrows at you. In order to tame one of the beasts, you must simply kill the horseman on top of it. Unlike most horses, skeleton horses won't sink, won't drown, and they won't forcibly dismount you off their saddle, meaning that you can pretty much ride this thing under rivers and oceans. However, on Bedrock Edition, you don't have to put a saddle on it to ride. Now, the reason this mob is so forgotten is simply just because of how rare it is for a thunderstorm to even occur. Thunderstorms will only occur an average of once every 3 hours. The mob then only has a small chance of spawning during that thunderstorm. So I think it's safe to say that this is one of the rarest mobs to encounter. This mob is so rare that the community just doesn't ever talk about it. Similar to the last one, number 2 is a zombie horse. this horse cannot be found in survival. It can only be spawned in through its spawn egg or the /summon command. It's a passive undead creature that acts pretty much exactly like a horse. The only item it will drop is rotten flesh. According to the Minecraft wiki, you can supposedly tame this thing using this command, but I've tested it and it doesn't work at all. I'm not really sure if you actually can tame it or not. According to Wikipedia, you can, but the command it shows does not work at all. So I'm just going to say that there's no way to tame this thing or ride it whatsoever, unless if you have mods on. Because this mob is literally impossible to find in survival and can only be spawned in creative, people just don't care about this mob at all, and they've completely forgotten about it. And although it does look pretty cool, it's not really any better than a regular horse, and in fact it's actually worse considering the fact that you can't even ride it. Now moving on to our last, final, and most forgotten mob in Minecraft, we have the NPC. Now you may have noticed that I'm on Bedrock Edition currently right now, and I'll explain why in just a moment. Now the NPC isn't your typical mob. You can only really find it in Bedrock Edition, and it does not exist in Java. You can only find it in Bedrock Edition using this summoning command and this give command, which will give you this spawn egg. This is the kind of mob that you'll only ever find in some Bedrock minigames and maps. The NPC has infinite health, and you can only move it using sticky pistons. If you right click on the NPC, you'll be prompted with an editing menu where you can change its name, skin, dialogue, and advanced settings. You can change the name to pretty much anything you want using any color codes. There are currently 20 skins to choose from on Bedrock Edition and 35 skins to choose from on Education Edition. In the dialogue section, you can pretty much make the character say whatever you want. In the advanced settings, you can create a total of 6 buttons, and you can put in whatever command you want, meaning that when you click one of these buttons, it will run that command. You can also change the command so that it activates when you right click on it, or you can change it so that it activates when you exit the menu. Other than this, the NPC is really just meant to add to minigames and maps, and it doesn't really have much of a purpose. The NPC is the most forgotten mob out of all because this is a mob that not only does no one ever talk about, but is only on Bedrock Edition in creative mode. I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't even know this mob existed until last summer when I was messing around with the /summon command and happened to come across it. And I've never even heard a thing about this mob, as well as the zombie horse being discussed by other YouTubers. Thanks so much for watching, and let me know what you thought of this video in the comment section below. Like and subscribe, or don't. You know, that's fine. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.